All roads, of course, leading to Bilbao for United and Spurs fans as well. But which side will be celebrating silverware and Champions League football next season?
I've got a bit.
Ready or not, here I come.
I don't usually win things, I always win things in my second year.
You can't hide.
20 league defeats is inexcusable. It's Bilbao or bust for and
Gonna find you and take it slowly.
Yeah, we've had problems for sure, but we're stuck together.
Richarlison nodded on and Tottenham lead.
Every day is important, yeah? Every day.
Tottenham need to win it without a shadow of doubt.
Ready or not, here I come.
Well, you can change things, but they'll never forget it.
It will be a season-defining night for Tottenham Hotspur.
They can't go into the game full of confidence. They've beaten 3 times.
And Son's corner has just gone straight over his head into the far corner.
I'm not scared of going to play Manchester United.
The injuries, the angst, the frustration.
People will never realise what it's taken for you guys to be in this position.
Had 17 years without having any joy and being beaten over the head, saying, Spurs don't win anything.
They are just so desperate to get that first trophy.
Your fans will remember this for the rest of their lives.
This is the group of players that are going to do it.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
Well, it's interesting. People have got different perspectives on this. Both managers want to win. But will winning this final change anything for either manager, Coisty? I mean, in other words, if Ange wins this trophy, does he stay in a job? If Ruben Amorim loses this trophy, will it cost him his job?
No. And you could argue that Ange might lose his job whether he wins it or not, to be brutally honest with you. But there's only one of them I think safe if they lose, and that's Ruben Amorim. I think he'll be there regardless whether they win or
I agree.
Win, draw or lose, because I think United see it as a longer project with him. I actually think from Big Ange's point of view, his only realistic chance of staying is if he wins. And I'm not even sure, Jeff, whether he wants to stay. I think this part of me thinks if he won it, in an ideal world, he'd sort of, well, I told you I could win things in a second. I'm off, because he's received, whether it's justified or not, some of the stick he's received has been, it's monumental, to tell you the truth. It's been non-stop. So the answer to your question, win, lose or draw, Amorim will still be in a job. Even if he wins, Big Ange might not be. That's just my opinion.
Interesting subplot, isn't it? That's for sure. Manchester United legend Rio Ferdinand was in the talkSPORT studio yesterday. He said he has one major concern for Ruben Amorim's side.
Physically, we can't keep up with any team in the Premier League. If they go man-to-man and go toe-to-toe with us, we're at a disadvantage, because our profile of our players at Man United are not players that can run as hard and as fast and as long and not as powerful as other teams, and that's a big thing in the Premier League. In the Europa, we're out overpowering every team. And there's only one team I've watched us play against in the Europa League who we've struggled against and thought, that was a bit too close for comfort. Rangers, who are more akin to a Premier League side physically. True, So that's the concern for me in the final. We're playing against a Premier League team who beat us 3 teams and physically can minimum match us.
Do you agree, Coisty? Could it come down to physicality?
100%. I think he's right what he says about United. You look at the physicalities in the other teams, the top teams, the Arsenal and your Liverpools, they're a real physicality about them. I'm looking at Manchester United's team against a potential team. Diallo, great players by the way, some talented players. Diallo, Mount, boys like that, Lindelof, Shaw, Fernandes. There's not a lot of physicality there. Some talent there clearly is. I know you've got to get a blend, you've got to get a mixture. You can't all be physical, but at the same time I take Rio's point totally, and I would agree with it. I would actually agree with it.
Interesting different approach, wasn't it, to the games before this game? Obviously Spurs, they've got their injuries, but rested a lot of players at Aston Villa. But Manchester United, they went really strong at Chelsea.
And I get that. I actually think they could afford to, whereas I don't think Tottenham could, with injuries that they've got. So I understand the situation totally, whereas maybe a little bit of an element, Amorim's like that, right, get out there and play, show me you're worth a place in the final, whereas Big Ange isn't in a comfortable enough position to do that.
Look, former West Ham England striker Dean Ashton's out in Bilbao now for talkSPORT. I'm delighted to say that Dean joins us now. Morning, Dean.
Morning, Dean. How you doing?
Very well, good morning, from beautiful Bilbao, just outside the San Mamés Stadium. It's beautiful here already, and it was good to see that there's already hundreds of supporters out here.
That's magic. Dean, listen, I got a message from a fellow talkSPORT journalist and workmate, if you like, and he's only asked me to ask you one question, and that was your flight over. Did you get an upgrade? And I think you know who the question might have came from.
I can't believe he's been that quick to try and get that in on the first hit that we've got on talkSPORT this morning. Typical of Alex Crook, honestly. There's only one man that could be upgraded on a flight that's got no class boundaries. Unbelievable. And then when I've gone to stand up and change seats, the stewardess has told me to sit down, turned to Alex Crook and said, "Any refreshments, sir?"
Well, as you can imagine, he's been on to me all first thing, mate, and he's been gloating like you've no idea. Listen, you touched on it. The fans are up and about. We've been speaking to one or two of the fans in their weird and wonderful ways of how they're getting to Bilbao. Some of them are flying to Valencia, Barcelona. But the atmosphere, I'd imagine, later on today will be terrific.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it was quite subdued, and as you can imagine, it's probably quite strange actually for both sets of supporters coming into it not really that confident, and off the back of certainly a very, very poor domestic season. But I think it's interesting just to listen to both sets of supporters. Obviously, you've got the Tottenham fans that are here certainly in hope of that first trophy in many years, whereas Manchester United fans are coming almost expecting it, because it's what they've done. Even though they haven't been great in previous seasons, they've been able to win silverware. So yeah, there's very much a different outlook from both sets of supporters last night when we were out and about within the city.
Yeah, I mean, Spurs fans obviously will point to the fact they've beaten United 3 times this season. Yeah. Does that count for anything, Dean?
I think it does, yeah. I think it means that certainly Ange Postecoglou has got that edge in terms of tactically being able to set his team up against Manchester United and getting success with that. And maybe player for player, it does show, in my mind anyway, for the first 11, that I think Tottenham are slightly stronger. But then when you get to a final, it does change. You know, we're only human as players, and these occasions affect players in many different ways, and it's about who can handle the occasion better, I think, between these two sets of players.
It's a funny one, Dean. The normal question you'd ask people is who needs it more, who wants it more, who has to win. But I'll ask you the opposite question: who can't afford to lose?
I think Ange Postecoglou can't afford to lose with the comments that he made, obviously, about winning something in his second season, which I thought was brave and bold. I know he talked about it being the facts, but he would have known what those headlines would have been, and lots of other sets of supporters and the media, I think, probably having a chuckle as they fell away from the Premier League and the FA Cup and the Carabao. But they're here, and he's got that opportunity. The thing I can't understand, and maybe I'm turning into a bit of a dinosaur, but I always thought as a manager your job was to win things at a big club. So surely if either of these managers win this competition and get Champions League football for next season, surely that's a very, very successful season. It is in my eyes. That's what I see being a manager of a big club's all about, is winning trophies.
If you finish fourth bottom of the Premier League and your Spurs are Manchester United, you can't call it a successful season, surely.
But surely his job is to win silverware, to qualify for the Champions League. Amorim's able to do that this season. Ange Postecoglou's able to do it this season. I think it's slightly different for Ange Postecoglou because it's about silverware, I would say. Champions League football's a bonus, but it's about silverware. I don't buy into this fact that you have to be magnificent in every competition for it to be a successful season. Ultimately, both of these managers have been able to get their team to a final where they're able to win a European trophy and gain Champions League football. That's a success in my eyes.
It's funny, Dean, my only concern about tomorrow night is the fact, like I mentioned to you there, who can't afford to lose. And I hope that doesn't, make its way onto the pitch. I hope we really get a proper attacking game. How do you see it?
No, I think you're probably going to be right, Ali. I think it's one thing playing in the Premier League. It's another thing playing in a final when you know what's on the line for both sets of players and managers and both sets of clubs in terms of what then's going to happen in terms of recruitment in the summer. And I think that will play out on the pitch. And also, I certainly look at Tottenham and their 2 away performances in the semi-final and the quarter-final. A very different Tottenham, a very structured Tottenham defensively, and I think without Maddison and Kulusevski, that's going to force his hand slightly in the way that they're definitely going to play.
Dina, look, 80,000 heading that way. If I was you, I would go and get yourself a beer now while you still can. Have a great couple of days, mate.
Enjoy it, mate. Hopefully see you over there.
I would do, but Crookie's probably already there.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.